Socialism is making inroads in America, especially among millennials and Generation Z voters, who according to the Pew Research Center are expected to make up over a third of the U.S. electorate in 2020. We'll be talking about socialism in this episode of Analysis Behind the News, where we provide the perspective so you can use to help save American liberty and independence. The popularity of socialism among this generation has penetrated even predominantly conservative communities like Florida's Cuban Americans, many of whom blamed President John F. Kennedy for the failed Bay of Pigs invasion that virtually guaranteed Cuba's subjugation to Fidel Castro and his merciless Communist Party regime, and also viewed today's Democrats, especially those like Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, as sounding a lot like the very regime they escaped from. In an article by the Associated Press published over the weekend, they discussed this new embracing of socialism among young Americans, including Miami Cubans. The AP article also references a recent Gallup poll that 43% of those surveyed said that some version of socialism would be good for the country. The poll further identified that the percentage of those in favor of socialism increased to 58% among respondents ages 18 to 34, the very group that the Pew Research Center said would make up over a third of the electorate in 2020. Regardless how well the economy may be performing overall, or the fact that unemployment among blacks, Hispanic, and women is at an all-time historic low, none of that may matter come 2020 if enough voters are ready to reject capitalism, throw in the towel on individual freedom, and boldly go where so many failed nations have gone before, down the path of socialism. Among Democrats, two of the top three presidential candidates, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, are outright calling for what they call democratic socialism, and virtually all of the Democratic presidential candidates, including frontrunner former Vice President Joe Biden, are embracing varying degrees of socialism, especially when it comes to healthcare policy. It's important to note that most young people who embrace socialism aren't necessarily ideologues who spend their evenings musing over a worn copy of Karl Marx's Das Kapital while listening to the anthem of the Soviet Union. Many are simply allured at the prospect of quote-unquote free college tuition, healthcare, a guaranteed living wage, and the idealism of a society based on fairness and equality. They don't see socialism for the misery, pain, poverty, deprivation, and death that it has inflicted everywhere it's been fully implemented. Many of the same young people who clamor in favor of the perceived fairness of socialism love the latest and greatest high-tech smartphones with unlimited data, binge watch on streaming services, enjoy wearing brand-name clothes and sneakers like Nike, and enjoy the plethora of options when it comes to what to drink or eat at their favorite coffee shop or fast food restaurants, all of which are the fruits of capitalism, the very system that would erode into the abyss under socialism. When asked, most can't even define socialism, but they know, or so they've been led to believe, that capitalism and individual liberty are inherently wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, this underscores the serious urgency to educate the electorate, especially the youth, who are most fond of socialism. This is why we at the John Birch Society and the New American Magazine have put together a brand new issue of the New American entitled Socialist Jackpot, just in time for back to school, as many young people are starting their fall semester at colleges across the country. And a little over a year away from the 2020 presidential and congressional elections. This special report is jam-packed with articles exclusively about socialism, examining the various misconceptions and educating readers about what it really means and its deadly history. This issue has it all in terms of scope, but it's only as good as its willingness to be read. So we're asking you to get your copies today, order some to give to your son, daughter, or grandchild, get copies into the hands of their friends, leave a copy or two at the local coffee shops where millennials are known to frequently patron. And for those of you watching in that 18 to 35 year age group, if you prefer to read media digitally on your iPad, Kindle, Nook, or other e-reader, or you just simply want to save a tree, then you can get this entire issue right now as a digital download for just $1.95. Seriously, that's less than a tall cup of coffee at Starbucks or the Popeyes crispy chicken sandwich. So for that low of a price, what do you have to lose? At the very least, you'll gain a new perspective that you likely won't find taught by your professor or given a fair look at on Vox. At the very most, you'll question what you believe about economics and the functions of government. And if you're confident that democratic socialism is the only way for most Americans to prosper, then surely your beliefs can take the scrutiny of this magazine, right? So get your copy today. We'll have a link in the description below. So if you or someone you know could benefit from reading the articles in this issue, be sure to get as many copies as you'd like today. We'll see you next week.